Alright, let's do a quick audio test here, and I should be good. And that board go. Of course, I gotta wait for the audio delay. Alright, let's do a quick audio test here, and I should be good. That board go. Alright, let's test. Of course, I gotta wait for the audio delay. Okay, yeah. Test. Alright. That should be good to go. Not blowing anything out. Well over the music. Let's turn up the gain just a bit. I got new headphones. Not headphones. I got new microphones. So I'm testing those out. Technology's getting crazy. I had a hard drive that's a solid state drive, terabyte. Got 4 of them. When they first came out, they're probably around like $1,500 back in 2020. When I bought them all back in like 2024, they're like $230 each. One of them died, and I had to warranty them back in January, and it was like $530 at that time already. And just the other day, I had to warranty another hard drive and replace that one, and now they're up to $1,000 for the same size. I'm just hoping some of these lawsuits that are coming out, calling these companies out for the artificial scarcity of memory and RAM. Because ultimately, what is the ultimate plan? Just to get everyone on the fucking cloud paying subscription service and having to rely on them in order to maintain simple things like family memories and photos and projects. It's constantly being a money siphon. And it's also amusing too. I managed to I reposted one of the old clips I did for Deep Fat Fried, and I had a feeling that this person would react to it, along with some of his audience members, and funny enough, they did. So, love triggering the chuds. Love seeing them come at me. It's great. It's funny. Alright. So, this commission, this burger commission, strictly that's all it was. That's my only restriction, was that it was a burger related. Got a few adjustments to make here, and can finally start doing the inks on it. It's been crazy. Getting the process of relocating here, packing up all the stuff. So it goes. But managed to do that, keeping up with 2 jobs. Technically 3. Include this, include my business here. You know, the fact that the other one job pays me hourly, and that's a sure thing, right? And then the other one pays me straight up per fee or whatever, for depending on how much work I output. So that's dependable in that regard. So you know, I gotta be special. I'm trying to make time for this stuff. I need a paper. Good. Just gotta fix these fries. They match the other ones here on the side, so they stick out a little bit better. And we can start inking this up here. Finally. And I'm glad that the commissioner didn't give me any time limit on this thing, because fuck. Did not anticipate all this shit going down to keep me away from it for so long. You know, he's understanding though. Everyone, you live long enough, you know what it's like to have to like move. And accidents that happen or health incidents happen, people get sick. And having to do errands and shit. The last comment I read on my post of the Remnant 77.7 fucking video. It's like wrong audience, bro. Okay. Whatever the fuck that means. Yet you're here. Whether laughing at me or with me, reaction's a reaction. As far as I'm concerned, that's a win. It's amusing. Bunch of strangers on the internet getting mad. And another stranger on the internet. Okay, what we got here? Yeah, the thing is, it's like some of these fries are way bigger than this side still. It's kind of driving me a little nuts. Some might say mentally ill. Speaking of butthurt, though, a lot of people are butthurt over the fucking Odyssey movie, which I haven't seen yet. I might see it in IMAX if I get a chance to, but probably won't. I got my own sound system at home. It's pretty competent. So I'll just wait till I get time to watch it here on my sound and video system. It is funny, though, seeing it just once again prove the narrative that Twitter's not real fucking life. A lot of these people are just living in their own fucking bubbles of their own version of reality. Like it's a choose your own adventure book. I realize too, for a lot of these people who like to revel in the suffering of others, whether it's being like a cop or an ICE agent shooting someone and claiming that they're being charged at by a car, obviously lying. It really is just telling just like how spoiled a lot of Americans are, especially white boys. Never had to worry for a meal their entire lives. That's why they're so nostalgic for when they were younger. They never had to worry for anything. And you try to like show them some examples of like how things weren't exactly as good in the 90s as you say it was. You just like the entertainment back when you were a little kid, too oblivious to the greater happenings in the world to pay attention. Because why would you? When you have food every day, you have a bed to sleep in, why would you think anything outside of your little home your parents are paying for? So of course, when they see people having a problem with like things the government's doing and certain laws that are passed and policies in place, and saying, hey, maybe we should do things to improve society that we live in. Like, what do you mean? Everything's fine. Things worked out for me. Look at me. Yeah, let's fix this Illuminati thing. I think I'm just kind of delaying the inevitable here. I'm just like, am I really done with this part? Am I really done? I'm not sure. Better adjust this. Better adjust that. I did get done doing Artist Alley at Anthrocon this year. I did Artist Alley at Midwest Fur Fest. Not Midwest Fur Fest. Motor City FurCon in Detroit. Couldn't go to Furry Week in Atlanta and Georgia. We had to save the money there. It is amusing though that the smaller art show, I made a lot more money than I did in the larger venue. But you know, despite the amount of people there in comparison, it's just in turn a lot more artists and a lot more vendors. But I always get a kick out of people reading the Furry Menace comic and laughing with it, laughing with it. Like it's a person laughing at it. Especially someone just ran up and just like, I have to buy this right now because they recognize the chick track format of it. And I can't wait to make more of those. The other reason why I'm looking forward to getting this done. It's not gonna rush, but damn, I am hungry to work on my other projects right now. All right, I think we're ready for this. Get the ink going here. Get my brushes. I guess we'll start with just the gesso. You can do the thicker outlines with that. What's the difference between gesso paint and just the black acrylic? Prime surfaces, adds tooth. Let's see. The ink I got better be waterproof. Yes, it is. Okay. I guess I'll use some with the gesso and some with the regular ink. See how it turns out here. Ah, there we go. Alright, see the outline of the burger guy. The gesso. I'm just... Oh, shit. Just notice the title shit's still on there. Boop. There we go. Let's check the chat. Sometimes the chat will not go through YouTube for some reason. It'll be set to something weird, like top chats. It's like, how about just all of them right now? Because that makes no sense to do a top chat for 1 or 2 people that come around. Funny, I did some marathon live streams, boost the watch time, and it actually worked. Should probably get back to doing those. The other thing I want to do is a lot of kind of just off the cuff vlog videos. I realize with YouTube live stream. It's not as viable in terms of promotion as shorts are right now and just full-on edited videos, which sucks. All right, leave that there. Thin up those lines later. Generally, when it comes to this, as I've learned from my teacher, Matt Bush, who has his own YouTube channel, you should check that out. He's got a couple movies coming out. He had one come out on Tubi called Aladdin 24.99. Oh boy, 24.77, something along those lines. The year date I can't remember right now. But he managed to get some rewards off of it, so I always find it endearing when it comes to low budget projects, even if I don't particularly find enjoyment in them. My issue with the movie was I think it just needed to be a little over the top more. I think it's too restrained in terms of, not just terms of like violence, but just like, I don't know, tongue-in-cheek goofiness. And I'm not talking like Marvel goofiness where you're winking at the camera and constantly make jokes and can't treat anything seriously. I just mean something that's a little more like fun, so to speak. Like the Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing. And you know what? I still had in mind to do a bacon weave as his cloak. Probably do that first. Let's get this tentacle done here, and then we'll do that next. Yeah, I need a different brush than this. This flathead's not going to do. All flatheads. What the fuck? I need a bigger one. That's a brush, regular brush. Oh wait, yeah, this will help me interact a little bit easier. But my goal was to hopefully get this pretty much squared away so I can update the commissioner on it. Like say, I didn't forget. Despite everything going on, I found time to get it done. Hey, Big Jerry. Welcome. Feels good to be back doing this. I hope I can get back into the schedule I was following, too. Just back into the groove of things. That's right. Well, I'm going to do a little bit more of the outline here. And then I'll start going back into that bacon weave. Gotta figure out how I'm going to color it, too, so it doesn't all blend in together like his little cloak here and the straps, things like that. Okay, let's wet this a little bit here. So let's get one of these little pucks, rotate it easier. Still have yet to get it like over this particular obsession I have about like all the lines have to be super clean and the same width, and it's like it's not a computer. That's not how it goes. And even then, I'm not liking doing that either. Especially now with all this fucking like language model image generation that goes on. It's not even. First of all, it's not even AI. But regardless, it averages things out so much that all these like straight up drawings where people just use the prompt and don't you do anything else with it starts to all just blend into the same thing. And primarily it's just being used right now to generate images that people can't find artists to paint or draw for them because the general populace sees them as morally ethical, unethical, and reprehensible, which I always find goofy. I find it kind of goofy to moralize over drawings as of themselves because it just echoes back to the era I grew up in where rap music and video games were causing people to be violent. It's like, well, if art and expression someone else does of something that's considered unethical, whether it's violence or sexual, makes people more likely to do those things. And if you're going to be all up in arms about the sexual shit, then you're going to have to apply the same logic to anything depicting violence. Like, there's never going to be a fucking time where people are just fine with rape and abuse. That's never going to be accepted by the general populace. You're never going to convince a group, the regular adults, that it's okay for other adults to just be predatory. Like, that's never going to fucking happen. And it's always amusing to me when a lot of these conservatives always fantasize about that happening, all the while they're the ones committing the crimes 9 times out of 10. It turns out that your child is safer with the people that look like Dean Schneider and Alice Cooper than they are with the conservative family values spouting youth pastor. Who would have thought? It's almost like predators like to go out of their way to present themselves as normal as much as possible, to the point where they even overcompensate by demonizing people who are just living their lives while being different than the normal society. Yeah, I'm trying to treat a drawing of something as like the same as actually doing it is just asinine. It's insulting to me as a survivor of sexual assault myself. I think it undermines and downplays the seriousness of the real thing that happens on a daily. But you know, it's easy to go on the internet and moralize over fucking artwork than it is to actually like do something to make society improve overall. And, you know, when it comes to anything, like whether it's like some racist shit, calls to action of demonizing people for violence, it comes to questions like, do we allow that? I mean, you know, it's not necessarily going to convince anyone that's on the fence that this is the correct position, because like if you depict a comic book, for instance, of some straw man, right? That's not really going to be convincing to any normie. It's going to be panderous to those who already have that mindset. But hey, you know, it just comes a point where these platforms are so huge, so monolithic, that unless it costs them money to host such things, they're not going to do anything about it. But really, a lot of this will go away on its own if you just fund education a little bit more, curate it towards understanding human rights and human history, not in a sycophantic way for whatever country you have to be living in. Unfortunately, though, we live in a country where the average reading level is at a fifth grade level. Now they're starting to just use age. Like, these are people that can read at a 8-year-old's level, which I think is a little more effective and maybe getting people to wake up to this sort of thing. It's crazy to me where, like, a contract for an apartment is beyond the reading comprehension of a majority of Americans. And it's not like I graduated top of my class in high school. I didn't have a free ride to college. I got an associate's degree in advertising art. Well, all these fucking like predatory institutions sending me mail, giving me phone calls. That's one thing I need to talk about. Like when you think of these college grads that came out with fucking mountains of debt, including a lot of designers and artists who are making careers right now, but nonetheless they have so much debt it almost doesn't even make a fucking difference when it comes to paying it off. But there are so many fucking scummy, shady colleges out there when it came to the arts and filmmaking. Like there was one film school. And what they'll do, they'll hire people who are professionals that work in the industry, like one or two of them. They'll prop them up, like, hey, you're gonna learn like from the guy who worked on Evil Dead. You're gonna work with the guy who worked on special effects for Transformers. And it'd be like a 2-year course. It was going to be, yes. It's one of the things where like my parents wisely talked me out of it. But it was going to be like a 2-year course. And it's going to be probably about 200 grand for this 2-year course for in total when you get through all the classes and everything. Learning, how to work the camera, composition, all this stuff. All this stuff that's actually available in a community college, which is actually ran by people who work in the industry actively. At least in my case, with the community college I was around in Michigan. These things you can learn. It doesn't matter what school you learned them from, as long as you know them. And I don't regret the college I went to at all. Definitely learned things I otherwise wouldn't have had known otherwise. But I think you could probably argue that you can learn as much through like YouTube tutorial videos as you could in college now, depending on what your field is. Speaking of fields, the other thing that comes up all the time is like bad degrees, waste of time degrees. Well, if you look up the number one most popular degrees, business, medical, law, and then engineering. And I think beyond that, it's all the typical shit of like historian and shit like that. Like none of these, the majority of people going through colleges are not getting quote unquote useless degrees and things. They're getting business degrees. Why? Because it's the go-to thing to get into when you don't know what the fuck you want to do with yourself. And your authority figures, your parents or your peers or whatever, have beaten you down enough to convince you that going into anything creative or expressive is just a waste of time. And believe me, they tried. And wow, didn't you know that? I got a decent enough job without a fucking business degree. I managed to survive in commission-based sales for over a year without a business degree. Just learning how to socialize with people better. Having an active imagination and curiosity. Never losing that sense of that. Understanding that when it comes to knowledge, I don't know anything. So the learning never stops. I'm starting to realize in terms of like this recent presidency, like a lot of people, these talk show hosts on these $1 million kind of podcasts are like acting surprised that the president's acting the way he does. It's like, bitch, he said he was going to do the thing, and he did the thing he said he was going to do to your face. And you're acting surprised about it. It must be a real brave act to admit when you're wrong, because it seems like when it comes to these people and chuds in general and all these other morons, they just can't come to terms with the fact that they're wrong about something, so they double down. They just double down and keep going, or they act confused and gaslight. Even though we don't live in an era anymore where news clips get buried and erased over the course of a night, where someone like Tucker Carlson can say one thing one day and then say the exact opposite the next day. And like, who's going to call him out? And where are they going to call him out? What? On fucking libtard MSNBC? Oh, yeah, wow. Like, they don't have their own fucking donors and undermining any kind of like leftist movement when it comes to things like universal health care, living wage. All right. I'm gonna let that dry for a bit and then finish up this bacon weave shit I got going on here. So anxious to get to the inking, I forgot about that part. That's right. Let's give me some bacon reference. Bacon references. Francis Bacon. What? Fucking AI shit. Yeah, it's fucking annoying to have to just scroll every time I put in a Google response now because it does a summary of what the general answer is, and it's usually wrong or not complete. Hate it. Fucking hate it. I got a busy night tonight, too. I got a fucking video to run. Squigs Weasel needs to do a video of his own, a couple of those. So he's got some lines to memorize. Better fucking deliver. I ain't paying him eggs. I ain't paying him in eggs for nothing. That's right. I just look up bacon weave. That gives me the. I hope with all this shit kind of being done, I can finally get back to my routine here. Maybe I'll even have time to let Squigs Weasel do some fucking video game streaming again. Start pushing this art store, get this Etsy store worked out a little bit better, promoting it more. And then like having less is more, right? So having less on display. We'll try that. And then if that doesn't work, then I'll just go all out and just start posting individual stickers of like the birds with legs that people love. I love how it was just made with on a whim, and that shit's just popular as hell wherever I go. All right, bacon weave. Let's see. Oh my god, stop giving me fucking videos. I want images. Deletes. Thank you. To get kind of like the idea of how it like appears over it, overlapping each other. So I guess we'll go real light first, and I accidentally erased some of my ink there, but whatever. Let me just fix that. You know, when it comes to inking shit, it's whenever the points meet, you try to widen the point more so that way you have varying line width. I've seen some art projects where people do ink and it's just like they're all the same width in line and you can not see a damn thing. And where one's trying to make that like their go-to style, it's like look how much detail there is. You're gonna spend a lot of time even finding images in it. It's like no, that's not good. It's probably better to have distinct line width so people can make out what your image is, unless you're going for something abstract. Like, hey, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. All I can do is tell you what I would do. And until I get like some position of fame and fortune, it's not going to carry much weight in terms of advice until then. What do I know? I need a water. Holy shit, do I need water right now? I need a Gatorade. Gatorade. Right back. Yeah. So yeah, I just got reminded that yeah, we have the steam machine. I got to see that thing in action. Pretty impressive, considering the size of it. It sucks that the price keeps going up because of this whole fucking fake RAM and memory shortage. There's a fucking Chinese company coming out right now with their own set of RAM that they're gonna sell, and already all the big tech companies are lobbying the shit out of the government to ban it outright. Free market for thee. Free market for me, but not for thee. Recording good. Alright, bacon weave time. We got our straps here. Alright. Let's kind of just like feel it out. I think, yeah, I'll just go from the side. It doesn't have to be precise or anything, as long as it just, you know, as long as it looks good for the most part. Like, I don't know if the bacon should go to something else when it comes to like the tentacle part, but that was the thing too. I had to, when I keep a burger thing, I want to keep everything food related, you know? If this guy turns out to like own a restaurant, that's gonna be funny as hell. The idea that this is gonna be hanging up on there for customers to see. Hey, it's not like sexual in any way, so. Especially with the new Hellraiser game coming out, which looks fucking amazing. Holy shit. That looks like everything I wanted to see in a Hellraiser movie after the second one. With the second one, I have a lot of problems with. Overall, man. This is one of the reasons why I just love the idea of Hollywood just fucking like burning in terms of executives, because a lot of the worst decisions when it comes to movies all fucking time, since I don't know fucking when, executive interference, studio interference. Oh, this Hellraiser thing. Well, you know, people aren't going to understand. Americans generally aren't going to understand something that isn't like Christian based. So, you know, we got to make it about hell. We got to make it about the idea of hell people have. And it's like, no, fucking no, stop. No. Why? And so that's how you get the third one where it's all they're demons. They say demons to some, angels to other. And then in the second one, they establish fucking Leviathan as this entity, as essentially like Slanesh of Warhammer, which is, serves pleasure and pain and experience and hunger. That's always the best kind of horror in that in the sense where it's like all your fucking religions are wrong. This is the real supernatural entity that's out there, and you know, look upon it in despair, bitch. Like, yeah, it comes around in one of these. Yeah, man, I don't like get so confused with just like a simple bacon pattern. All right. Yeah, it's like it's gotta go under things. It goes underneath there. Comes out here. It also is like the idea is it's being weaved into a coat or a cloak or whatever. Let's distinguish these straps. Do that. And then a little bit more. Under. And one over it. And under again. And over it here. And over it here. It's like you just gotta switch it up each block here. So like that's a line, that's a line. Where's my lighter one? It's an HB. The 6B, the exact opposite of what I want. Need like a 2H. Fuck ever. Draw light, it'll be fine. Let's get this thing for my elbow. Alright, over, under, over, over, under. Yeah, over. Yeah, so it's gonna have to get smaller as it goes in. And this is gonna be coming over here, so that's gonna dive into there. Distinguish that there. There we go. All right, over, under. strips like this then. Yeah, I like that idea. We got shorter up there. Yeah, I'm just overthinking it. It's as simple as this. Squaring it off. But yeah, then I gotta figure out the directions. So yeah, like yeah, that's kind of over. Up and down, left and right. 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 There we go. That's how we're doing it. Down. Left and right here. Yep. Yep, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas here. Okay, there we go. Yes. Yeah, so steam machine works good. Sucks that the price already increased to another like $500. I mean, it's insane. The original Switch went up in price. Something's gotta fucking give, man. But I don't know. It might not. People might just accept being on the fucking cloud for everything, especially since there's like another generation of people that don't know how to fucking computer on the desktop because, well, desktops are becoming so goddamn expensive. Who's gonna justify it? Depending on what you use it for too. If it's just like you're not gonna make a $3,000 Facebook machine that does your email and that's it, right? If you're going to do it, you're going to do it something that you're interested in, and like phones can handle video editing now to a basic level, so people can make their bullshit content. You know, for no creative input on anything really. It's disposable content. Ultimately, whatever I make, whether it's fucking sensual, comedic, commentary, whatever, I want it to be more timeless than anything. I don't want to just commentate on the happenings of the world. I want shit that's reflective on movies and other forms of art, or if I'm not just outright creating my own. That's why I'm anxious to get this done, get this started to some degree, so I can get back to those major projects. And it sucks because like I have a friend who wants to do a game, and he wants to hire me as an artist to do some of the cards, and I'm like thinking, can I do that? Am I going to find time to do that? Really, this project here, this is kind of dependent on that, whether or not I can make that decision with confidence. And I think despite everything that's going on, how busy everything has been, I think I can do it now. I'm glad I didn't say no. I'm glad I waited and was patient with myself to think on it before making a decision on it. So yeah, I think I can do that now. It's looking like that's how it's going to be. That makes me happy. Makes me a happy camper. since it's all squared off here, let's just try to... And it's bacon, so it's going to be kind of rough looking to begin with, right? Yeah, we'll try to grid this off here then. Yeah, overall's turned out pretty good. And yeah, the commissioner has been enjoying the progress updates, or at least appreciating them. He didn't tell me to make any changes. He likes how it turns out. It's turned out so far. It's all the pencil work done. So now it's just, yep, finalizing the inks and then getting into the coloring. There's definitely going to be a lot of pale colors. Also got into the shading here too. The cross-hatching, the shading tends to be the, well, the cross-hatching. That's how you do the shading, is the cross-hatching. So I'm trying to do this with like watercolors because the ink is already waterproof. It's workable in like acrylic. It doesn't dry. Doesn't dry fully. It can be reactivated once it's wet again. So if I need to fix up a color a little bit, I can do that. Which means I can't do that with the ink though. When it comes to the ink, I can't just... I can't use watercolor with that. Like some people use watercolor for the ink, or gesso paint with the ink. Because they plan on coloring it with other inks, I think, or just straight up just doing it on the computer digitally, which I'd rather not do now at this point. Pretty stubborn that I want to get it done traditionally, along with my other comic projects, because well, look at the dominant force. The dominant force is digitized, algorithmically generated art, so you gotta do something to fucking stick out. And oh yeah, I've mentioned that several times. I'm not here to moralize over fucking generative art or whatever. I don't give a shit. There might have been a moment where I did, but that thought was squashed rather quickly to the point I don't remember anymore. Because ultimately, what's going to happen is just like when phones came out and a lot of photographers lost their jobs because the companies thought they could just replace their photographers with people using phones. You still have to have a creative input. You still have to have a creative mindset in order to have like good outcomes, good output. So yeah, naturally, a lot of people got hired back on. Which sucks. It would have been better if all those companies that did that just burned. But whatever. You know, everything's too big to fail now. I think there's a single industry out there that's not too big to fail at this point. Except for like your local mom and pop restaurant or retail store, liquor store, whatever. Okay, progress photo here. Let's see how further we can get along before I call it, because I got some other videos to film tonight that I otherwise will not be able to film for sure for the rest of the week if I don't do it. Let's do portrait mode here. That's pretty much set. Alright, let's continue the outlining here. Trying to make the lines thick enough so I don't have to keep going over them. I noticed that was a bad habit of mine when it comes to a lot of these pieces, that I do the line work and I look at it, I'm like, ugh, the lines are way too fucking thin in the forefront, and I end up having to go over them again. So I'm just trying to get over my fear of making mistakes like that and just doing it. Doing it the right way the first time, you know? Okay. He's got a stack of ribs, or rack of ribs. Part of his cloak. Then we put like some... I spritz some clouds in the background there. That's the other thing I've been having trouble pulling the trigger on, is getting an airbrush. Like a proper airbrush. I'm always, when it comes to like new things, I'm always afraid of not using it. I'm always afraid of just wasting my money and then like not using the thing I paid for. Trying to think of things where that happened with. Because like when it came to these microphones, for instance, this is something I didn't know I needed, that my first husband got for me for my birthday. The tablet I use, that was another thing where I didn't know I needed it, but apparently I did, because I use it all the fucking time. Very convenient to be out and about and just be able to pull that thing out and work on a script or something, no matter where I'm at, and not have to use my thumbs. Or work on a drawing that's going to be digital. Can't replace the traditional setup, but you know, that's just how it goes. Yeah, that's where the cheese is. The rib comes around here. We got a mountaintop in the background here. Yeah, see, like even here, I gotta thicken up this line for sure. A lot of trailers that have been coming out from movies lately are just taking a kid's property and making it horror themed. I think it's to the point now we're going to have our own genre of that entertainment. There's one called Buddy. There's one that's like a Mr. Rogers kind of setup, where the victim is the host of the show. There's one where a girl invites some friends over to her place, and it's ran by a bunch of demented puppets. Created by some woman who I guess didn't get her recognition. Or is taking revenge on people that wronged her. Yeah, that's 3 straight up. Just one, there's probably more. And there's one called like Mr. Crockett that came out a year ago, I think. There's a guy that hosted a TV show or kids show, and he makes a deal with Satan to kidnap children and murder their parents. to bring them to a happy place. And it's just, and you know, of course, it's usually parents that are like neglectful for their kids or have a fight with their kid, and then he shows up and like takes advantage of the situation and manipulates them to coming along with them, so they can live in imagination land forever. I mean, it doesn't seem like he got a bad deal out of it. That was a thing I kind of didn't like about the movie. It's like, well, where's his like he makes a deal with fucking powers unknown, and it just works. He's got no problems. Okay, sweet. I should make a deal with the devil and have them fucking empower me to make my shit come true. In terms of getting published and promoted and all that. That is the one aspect I do not like, is self-promotion. It's always an uphill battle to promote yourself and promote your work. Because you can't afford, no one can afford to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars of ads to a billion-dollar corporation to promote you. That just seems silly and a waste of time and a waste of money. Alright. What next? I'm gonna shore up some of these things here. Like a paper towel, that's what I need. Okay, and let's get these nuggies. This mountain of screaming in pain nuggies. Yeah, just doing the outline, so things are going to be rather thick here. And thinner as we work our way inward. Oh yeah, this one's going to have one that's just a big chomp. Took a bite out of it. There we go. Let's do this. Yeah, hopefully I can keep this as a routine now daily, like I intend to. Once again, depends how much the second job starts demanding again. That's all dependent on my efficiency. All right. Still feel like I can use the brush to get some of this stuff outlined. I feel like I risk going a little too thick. And that becomes a problem in itself. There we go. Alright, I think we can start cracking out the pins. Maybe? Maybe not. I'll keep at this here. A little bit there. to work it in. Okay, yeah, I can do this. All right. Yeah, stick up the other side now. Okay. Next. Yeah. You do some of the outline the environment here. This way. The hills. You get into the mountains. I didn't kind of finish this off here. Let's see. That dries. Let's figure this out. What do we do for this? Boulders, bunch of demented trees, gravesite. Kiddie pool here. Purple goop. Okay. Now, the background behind this guy. There should be more of the mountains? I guess so. Or it could be, you've seen like the tops of the trees. So it's a downward hill there, going upward. Just kind of get a feel for it. Let's see here. On a dead forest. Distance. Yeah, something like that. I can envision it here. But yeah, because in the furthest background, it's just going to lack the most detail. Frankly, trees. Yeah, it kind of does it there. All right. Moving on. Yeah, I wanted to give it this fisheye look too, so that's coming along just nicely. Yeah, I think we want thinner lines for the backgrounds. So let's pull out. Fill out the right pen nib. Oh, right here. Always pendants. It always ends up being like one or two I use. But as I get these outlines done, put this ink well over here. Dip it further now, so you have to. All right. How are we on time? Looks like we're good. Not a lot of precision drafting needs to be done with this sort of thing, so works for me. There are ways to do it. Like in fact, I'm probably going to do it right here. Basically, figure out your edge, lay it down. And boom, straight line. It's like a ladder going into not Grimace's head. Only not Grimace, don't sue me, McDonald's. I know you guys are hurting for money with your shitty food. Their food got real shitty real fast all of a sudden. Just them cutting back, trying to see what they can get away with to increase that profit. Now Burger King's a lot better. Burger King I used to be disgusted with. It would be nice for me to just say Burger King and McDonald's and have like a vast majority of people not know what the fuck I'm talking about. But everywhere you go, every city, every state, every town, every country, there's a McDonald's, there's a Taco Bell, there's a Burger King, even if it's named differently. Horrendous. And they get so big, they get to skirt regulations. They get to just pay the fines and make that the cost of doing business. And now their executives or CEOs go to jail over the crimes they commit. What a wonderful world we live in. And yet there's a stupid enough crowd out there that just hears this and think, man, how do I blame Jews for this? How do I blame queers for this? How do I blame black people for this? For my shortcomings in life. Personal responsibility, huh, that's something I say, not actually do. That's generally how it goes. Yeah, it's got steps here. Whatever. I'm going to be diving their eye in there to see if there's every little run. But concerning its angle, I do want to kind of keep it perspective in mind, but the perspective is so small here, you generally don't have to worry about it, or just, you know, get a general feel for it. Yep, I'm gonna crack out the brush for this outline here. Get it wet, get the water off. Get some of the paint on there. Brush needs to be reworked. It's been sitting in my tub too long. Yeah, unfortunately, I reached the point where there's not much else I can talk about right now, unless some dipshit just jumps in here and starts spewing a bunch of random nonsense. Which would be amusing. Okay, yeah, I just have to fix this brush after I'm done here. My other one. Still do thin enough lines with this. I have to thicken up the outside of the ladder here. Just a little bit. There we go. Purple pool. All right. Let's get this chicken, this headless chicken here. Yeah, I feel so much better now that I was able to actually do this today. Fuck. The anxiety was starting to kill me. This thing was just like lingering in the back of my mind like a haunting reminder, like, hey, you gotta do this. Hey, this needs to get done. Hey. Why is this taking so long? Why is it taking so long? You think you can do it today? No? Why not? What'd you do? What did you do? Oh, you had to pack some things? Oh. You had to clean some things? Like, here you go, disembodied voice reminding you, like, hey, you know, this thing needs to get done. They paid you. The person paid you. Get to work. Make time for it. And you know, I am. And I did. You know, it wasn't like I was slacking off. That's the thing I have to keep in mind. It's like there's a lot of shit that needs to be done and to do. So, yeah, it'd be one thing if I was just neglecting it out of laziness, which wasn't the case, so can't really be upset about it. Alright. So it spirals around here. Down the inside. Yeah, it's backgrounds with the outlines we gotta be real thin with. For sure. Less detail the further back you go with the subjects. Primary subject, of course, being the Burger King here. The Burger Lord. In the background here. Illuminati flower. Yeah, it makes more only sense to put a bunch of straggly trees behind this building here too. It's like a dark, dead forest. Get real loose with the inking too when it comes back here. Just figure out where all the blacks are gonna go. Primarily, just want to get the outlines done. And once I do that, send a progress photo. Finally. Alright. The other question is, are they going to have white eyes? Black eyes? Red eyes? I think black eyes. I'll make his white eye, the burger's white eyes, stick out more. And all these nuggies with their demented looks. I'd probably give them pupils, but they're all like rolled back in their heads. That'll be pretty amusing. Okay, I think I'm on the verge of taking a break here. How long have we been going on here for? Yeah, almost 2 hours. We'll keep going in here for just a little bit. Just need a moment. Yeah, finish the outline here. Probably change my battery. Yep. Let's do that. Oop. It's gonna take a moment to take a break on things. Like your brain gets bored of the project you're working on. Alright, let's continue on here. And that was my break, changing the battery. I was pushing through and not letting myself get distracted. Even with my meds. Sometimes something can come along and pull me away. No, I think I've been doing pretty good this time about keeping a conversation going, keeping the talk going. If people happen across the way YouTube is now, it seems like you have to have the audience established now to do a live stream. And the discoverability now is just on the shorts section, which is kind of hard to do when you're doing this, because like the portrait mode looks like garbage. I really hate how that's the go-to video format. Sucks. I don't like holding my phone upright to look at videos. I don't scroll by videos. Especially when I'm like walking or doing something, or I'm hiking or camping. go. Yeah, I'm still on the fence whether or not I want to. And I want to do white eyes for him for the burger, but will be distracting for white eyes for the nuggies, or should it be black eyes? I think white eyes with the pupils rolled back. They're all just dead. I think that'll work. Let's have a few more of them chomped on too. Right here. Right there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I probably have to go back over because again, oh, I don't have a proper small brush for this right now. So I'm just going to go over this line again and thicken it up a bit. All right, well, I think it's high time I get. Oh man, I keep wanting to end it, but then I think like, no, I can push it a little further. And push it just a bit further. Hold off on that. Yeah, we can fix this brush up for tomorrow. Actually, no, I still have a bunch of small brushes I can use. In fact, I'm going to grab one real quick. All right. Let's see, what are these nuggy children looking like here? You call them nuggy children? McDonald's. character. That's right, I have a fucking whole thing of this. What am I doing? Album. Yeah, these freaks. Yep, they are just eyes and eyebrows. Okay then. Finish this flower first. Just a tiny little smile there. There we go. Yeah, kind of like that tentacle just being the way it is. At least adjusting this. Doesn't get into the grimace image too much. Alright, grid this out just like the others. Okay, go that way. Yeah, pretty much. There we go. And we have a little goop coming out of his mouth. little demented slide going on here.
Water. By the moon.
New an image.
And the background to give a sense of
There we go. It's kind of what I was going for here. Simple waves. So come over the edge here. If not, let's just like simple water. Fucker. That's what paper towel is for. Let me just paint over that. Obviously, I'm kind of getting quiet here, so I think I'm just going to have to wrap this up. Alright. Yeah, not much else to say, not much else going on I can think of. No topics I want to exhaustively explore right now. What I want to do now is work on some videos I have in mind. For a cute weasel character. Alright. Let's get Grimace's head outlined here first. Once all the outline is done, then we start figuring out the shading. I'm starting to learn the best thing to do is to actually plan out the shading better. Pencil, then get into it with the ink straight up. As long as I'm efficient with it, it shouldn't be too time consuming. So just going inside a hole in his head. Pull out the brush for his eyes. Okay then. Yep. Got much else to say. Nothing else going on right now, so I am going to wrap this up. Hopefully we can get back in here tomorrow. Good night.